My name is Tanya Finchum.
Yes.
I'm here along with Alex Bishop,
Uh-huh.
and we're with the Oklahoma State University, and we're with, if I can say your name right, Connie
Chilla.
Tranchilla in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
And this is part of our 100-year life project, so thank you for having us today.
You're welcome.
Let's start with having you tell us when and where you were born.
I was born in St. Louis, Missouri,
And when?
July the 22nd, 1912.
Were you born at home?
Yes.
And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
Well, living, I had, where there were 5 of us. But my mother had about 3 or 4 miscarriages in between.
And what order were you? Were you the oldest?
The
or
oldest.
And where did you go to school?
Well, I went to Catholic schools, Holy Ghost first, and then I started Rosetta Caden High School. But in the meantime, my mother died when I was 13 years old. And during the summer, my father decided that he better there was 5 of us, so he decided that he better put us in a home. So I had been in an orphan's home for about 11 months. But I was very happy there. It was really, you know what I mean, they were all very good to us, and I loved the nuns there.
And your siblings were there with you?
Yes.
And then after that 11 months, what happened?
Then my father, in the meantime, he builds a house, and he got it ready for us when we came out.
And did you have to be the one that took care of the children then?
Yes, but first I did try. I was going to start at high school, and we had all kinds of housekeepers, and well, it was kind of hard on coming with 5 children. You can imagine when women didn't stay with us very long. So after about the 10th one, I decided I better quit school and do this. So that's what I did. And for 4 years, then my father he remarried, and then I went back to school.
So you finished high school or 8th grade or what?
Yes, I finished 8th grade at the orphan's home, and then I didn't finish high school, so I had to go back and, catch up. I guess I decided, well, I don't want my children to be smarter than me.
And after you got your high school degree, what did you do next?
Well, I worked in my father's office. He had a real estate office, and I met my husband there, and I don't know, I think I only worked for about 2 years, because then I got married. After that, what did I do?
How old were you when you got married, though?
25.
25. So a little older than most people at that time period.
Yes.
And were you still in St. Louis?
Yes, this was all in St. Louis. I've never been in any other state but St. Louis, Missouri.
And then here?
Yeah. And I came here because of my daughter. I thought, well, it's not so cold here, so I decided that I would move here, but I wanted my own place. I didn't want to live with any of my children. And as a matter of fact, that was one of the things my husband always said: don't live with your children.
And when did you come to Oklahoma? What year?
95.
So you've been here a while then.
Yeah, about 18 years.
And how many children do you have?
I have 4 living.
And are they mostly in the area?
What?
Are they all in Oklahoma now, or just?
Oh, no, they're everywhere. One's in Minneapolis, one's in New Jersey, another one is in Texas.
They are everywhere.
So that's 3 of them, and then the 4th one is here.
Did you work?
Well, yes, I worked for a while for, my father.
Once you were married, though? Once you were married?
No, I didn't work once I was married. Yes, wait a minute, I did. After my children were grown, and my daughter Mary was going to college, and she taught kindergarten while she was going to college. And then she got married. So then the pastors knew me, and he thought that I could handle the kindergarten class. And that's what I did for 10 years. But that's about, that's about really the only real work I ever did.
Well, that was pretty much work, though.
Yeah, it was fun. I loved it. Then after that, I did a lot of volunteer. I even volunteered at a school to help, the teacher with reading, and I did a lot of other volunteer. I was always busy. I just didn't, wasn't the kind that just let time go by.
Did you expect to live to 100?
No, never. I didn't even expect to live to 94.
At what point did you think, okay, I'm going to?
Well, I just thought the good Lord's keeping me here, so
Still got something to do.
keep active. They say, move it or lose it.
And so what do
So
you
that's
do?
what I did. What?
What do you do to stay active? Now.
Well, I do a lot of exercise.
Okay.
And even now, I have a man that comes in that does, he's a trainer, and he comes twice a week. So he gives me a workout.
Sore muscles still.
Yeah. That a lot of those people don't know that that's what they ought to do, but that's something they should do.
You should.
So anyway.
So you were 13 when you lost your mother?
Yes.
Did that happen during childbirth, or
Yes.
was it?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that I remember they were talking, the people, the relatives that were there, and the doctor decided she had pneumonia because my father was building a house for us to move into, and my mother went to the house to watch the colored girl to do the work. You know how sometimes you just gotta be around, so that's where she picked up and had pneumonia, and that's what happened, that the doctor thought that he would take the baby, and maybe that would correctly help her with the pneumonia, but gee whiz, in those days, they didn't do much about pneumonia. So,
Well, prior to that, did you live on a farm?
no, we always lived in the city.
Did you have chores? Would you have chores?
As a child?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
Like ironing or helping in the kitchen, or what?
Oh, hell, what the heck did I do? Oh, I know that my mother needed help, so I was doing, help around as much as I could, for as young as I was.
Did they have a car?
Yes.
Do you remember getting the first one? Or since you were in town, did you Well, what would be? If you lived in town, you wouldn't have had horse and wagon. You would have had a car.
Yes. Yeah, my father had a car. It was funny, in those days they sold a car to you and you didn't even drive.
You had to teach yourself how to.
Yeah, I remember. I said, oh gosh, how can that, this is so odd. They just give you the car and they don't know whether you can drive it or not. But then my father, he was the kind of man, he was going to do it or else. I guess I kind of took after him.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't have a favorite. I did what I just did the subjects that I had to do. I didn't really have favorites.
I thought reading may have been, since you still read.
Oh my gosh, I've read, I don't know. I read all the time.
Can you describe a typical day for you now? How early do you get up?
6:30,
And what time do you go to bed?
10.
Oh, that's a long day.
Yeah, well. Oh, I pray every morning for about an hour. That's after I, get up and take my first pill. And I sit here and then I start eating. Then I get my breakfast. And I've always had a good, lots of vitamins and whatever.
You watch much TV?
No,
No?
I'm not crazy about TV.
So you read the news?
I'd rather read.
Okay. You read the local newspaper?
What?
The newspaper?
Well, I don't get that, but on Sundays when I'm at my daughter's, I read the paper.
Okay. How do you get your books?
Oh, well, we buy them.
You do?
Well, what type of things do you read? What's your favorite type of books to read?
Well, I don't like to read, I'd rather read fiction. Oh, no, wait a minute, am I saying that wrong?
Novels or biographies?
Oh, yes, biographies. I like biographies.
So-
I like to find out how people became a success.
So not nonfiction then? You prefer nonfiction?
Yes. That's what I thought. Well, that was the wrong word.
Are you currently reading a book now?
No, right now I'm reading the Bible.
Well,
I don't have a book right now, and then besides, with all this, the company that's coming, I didn't want to start.
Well, since we're talking about company, when you turned 100, what was that day like?
What?
When you turned 100,
Yeah.
what was that like, that day?
Well, it was a happy day.
Did you have a party with guests?
Oh, gee whiz, yes. I told you I had all my in-laws and my and all my side, and that was a room full of people. But I have a whole bunch of grandchildren, great-grandchildren.
And plans for this year?
No, I decided I didn't want to party this year, but there was a couple of people that are close to me that said they were coming.
So at least have a cupcake then, huh?
You have a unique Can you tell us a little bit about the origins of your family?
What?
the origins of your family, like where your mother and father came from and how they met, and
Oh, well, they'd been through other people, you know, that's the way they did it in those days.
and were they from the United States originally?
And, no, they met in the United States.
But can you state for the record where were they from originally?
Well, I already told her.
But for the recording.
Oh, okay. Where were they from? My mother was from Sicily, and my father was from Palermo.
And did they carry over when they came to the United States any family traditions or rituals?
They
or
did not. But after I married my husband, I lived upstairs from them. That was our first home, and that was a mistake.
In what way?
Well, because my mother-in-law wanted to mother me, and I had so many experiences, I didn't need anybody to mother me.
You've almost been a mother yourself with
Yeah.
your mom. Yeah.
So anyway,
Did she teach you a recipe or two?
she what?
Did she teach you a recipe or two?
Oh, I guess I got a couple of recipes from her. But she wasn't one of my favorite people.
No.
She was one of those women that just didn't want to give up her son.
Now,
But anyway, we were happy after she, that she would, after we lived upstairs from them for 10 years, and then we had a home built in Clayton Gardens, and that was the first time that we were away from them. And my husband would drop off his father first, but he would always go in and see his mother, say hello to her. And she'd always have loads of complaint about me and my kids. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. So the man would be angry when he, come in the house, and I knew right away that she'd been feeding him. So anyway.
How long were you married?
Oh, over 50 years. I didn't count after that. Yeah. We stayed together.
What kind of work did he do?
He had a imported grocery and meat business with his father. They were, together. So that's what he did most of his life. Thank goodness he bought some stock in between. Because I'm living off of it. Oh dear.
In terms of,
And I take care of my bills. I even take care of my taxes.
do you do your own taxes and you
Yes,
yourself?
I do my own taxes, but I don't, no, I have to give them to the accountant. But he always marvels that he doesn't have to work on them, I do all the work.
Now, I assume that religion has been a central part of your life. Can you talk about that?
Did I what?
I assume that religion has been a central part of your life.
Yes,
Can you speak to that, kind of what that means to your life, and
Well, it meant everything.
and did you go to church every Sunday?
Because I would, when I'd have a problem, I would pray for it, and I would feel that they'd answer, I'd get an answer. And I always did too.
Catholic? As a youngster, what would you do for fun?
Oh, the usual thing, you know. We always, in those days, we used to make up our games and whatever. We didn't go to the store to buy them.
When being in town, it's a little bit different than being out on the farm, though. So,
Oh, yeah.
I was just curious, did you do music? Piano?
Oh, yeah, I took piano lessons for a while, but that, then I decided I didn't want that.
Did you learn to sew?
Oh, yeah, I did that too. That I think I learned to do at one of those months that I went to Rosetta King High School. They had, that too, sewing and cooking. I think they had sewing and economics, they called it. Of course, and we had Latin and other, English and the rest of them.
What was it like living in the orphanage for that?
Wonderful. I told you that the nuns were very good to us.
Did you get to share a room with your siblings, or did they separate you?
Oh, no, we were separated. Yes, according to age and sex.
Do you remember a particular nun, a nun in particular that influenced you or helped you, or?
Yes, I remember this. I think must have been my 8th grade teacher. But I'm trying to think of what her name was.
And what type of nuns? What type of nuns did you were you associated with? There were different orders of nuns. Which ones were you?
Oh, I think they were Sisters of Charity.
Sister of Charity.
But you didn't want to be a nun after that, huh?
Oh, I don't know. No, I guess I never wanted to be a nun. I don't want to be cloistered.
What gives your life purpose today? What gives your life a sense of purpose today?
What makes it a purpose?
Yeah.
I guess I live for my children. I'm very family oriented. I guess that's the way my life, the way it started. What other way was it going to turn?
What were holidays like?
The holidays as children. You mean after my mother died?
Or before, either one.
Well, they were okay. We didn't make such a big deal about it, in those days. Except for Christmas and Easter.
Easter, okay.
What were special about those holidays?
What was special about the holiday?
About Easter and Christmas, what were so special about those two holidays?
Well, for one thing, my mother was born on Christmas, so we, celebrate her birthday. And believe it or not, she died on Easter.
That's odd. Yeah.
So
when
those,
she was only 38 years old.
so those are two pretty important days. Not only are they
Yes.
holidays, but important days.
Well, gosh almighty, they were important. I have never forgotten them, I guess.
Have you traveled very much?
Oh my gosh, yes. I went to Italy 3 times, and I went to, and my children, during the summer, we went to, we went to a lot of parts of the United States. My gosh, I can't even count how many different states we went through. Every summer it was another, it all depends on the area, you know, that we were in. If we go to California, well, whatever was close by, the states around there.
You have a favorite place? A favorite place?
I think Italy was. Well, my goodness, I mean, it's so beautiful in Rome. And I had a sister-in-law who lived in Florence, Italy, and that's such a beautiful city. This my brother, when he was in the war, he met this girl from Florence, married her and brought her to the States.
Was your husband in the war?
No,
So he missed.
no, he wasn't. I don't know, maybe because he had a grocery store. I don't remember why he didn't have to go.
Were you married during the Depression or a little after?
Right around the
Right.
Depression. It was 36.
So toward the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Still rough times, though, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's one thing, though, that I have to give my in-laws is that we lived with them for 10 years and didn't pay any rent. So that helped us build a home, you know, save that money.
Do any historical events stand out in your mind?
Oh, sure, like Lindbergh and and also it was his children, his one son that was stolen.
Do you
Yeah, that I remember the event, but I don't remember exactly when, because it was such a horrible thing.
Do you remember the JFK assassination? John F. Kennedy?
Oh, sure. Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember that too.
Being a Catholic, I thought you might.
Yeah. That was unusual. I'm a Republican, but I voted for him. Not because he was Catholic, because I thought he was handsome. Which, that is a lot of reasons why people vote. I mean, women especially.
I have heard it before, yes.
Oh, shoot. That was a heck of a thing, wasn't it?
It was.
Well, I was young then, and gosh almighty, I don't know.
63, so you would have been in your...
Yeah, well, I
50.
guess I thought that maybe he could change things. But he didn't live long enough to change.
No, but he was going to, I think.
Yeah. So,
So what's your secret to living a long life? What do you think are some of your secrets?
Well, I don't know. I think that I think the good Lord just kept me here. I mean, I don't have any secret. Everybody knows that if you eat right and exercise, that helps, you know. But I have lots of faith, so it has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, talk a little bit about your faith. Talk a little about your faith. How has that been a central part of your life?
Well, you know, I just feel that you have to pray, and you've got to love God. That's about all I can think of that you know.
Have there ever been times where you may have had some doubt?
Did what?
Have there ever been any times where you may have experienced some doubt?
Some doubt. Oh, sure, you know, you do.
And what would have been some of those experiences for you?
It wasn't an experience. I mean, sometimes you just wonder. It's only normal, I think, that you would do that. Maybe not. I don't know how to answer that.
And I assume the practice of your faith is important too.
Oh, yes.
Can you talk what a typical Sunday might have been like when you were a kid, or even with your own family?
Did I what?
Can you talk a little bit about what a typical Sunday would be like for your family?
Almighty, the first thing, everybody had to go to church. Went to Mass.
And what'd you do after Mass?
Well, as children, I'm talking about after my mother died, my father would take us after dinner. We called it dinner. Instead of lunch on Sunday, we'd have a big dinner early. And then he would take us to the theater. All those nice theaters, like the Ambassador in St. Louis and the Fox Theater on Grand Avenue. He would take us every Sunday.
All the kids?
Yeah, we'd go to the cemetery, and then from there we'd go to the theater.
So I assume you visited your mother's grave?
Yes.
Okay. And what show do you remember? Do you remember a particular show, or?
Oh, I remember at the Fox, there was a what do you call him, a vaudeville show. His name was Eddie Laurie. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No, I haven't.
No.
And he would have the whole show. We used to enjoy him. besides a movie they had then.
Did you watch a lot of movies? What was your favorite movie growing up, or a favorite actor or actress?
Oh, those old ones. There's a lot of. I have a lot of them, of the old ones. I don't know too much about. I don't know the ones today very much.
Gone with the Wind.
Oh, sure.
All the Shirley Temple movies.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to a circus
Yes.
when you were younger? Remember much about that?
Yes, we went to a circus whenever there was a circus in town.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about the neighborhood you grew up in St. Louis?
Yeah.
You know, St. Louis has different neighborhoods, and what was your neighborhood like? Can you tell us, share a little bit about what?
Oh, it was a nice neighborhood. It was really, it was always a really nice neighborhood. My father being in the real estate business, we just, you know what I mean, helped.
Helped, yes.
I mean, did you settle like in an Italian section or
Oh, no,
German or?
no, we never lived in an Italian section.
Mhm.
Always lived amongst Americans.
Because I know in St. Louis they have what's called the Hill District.
I know.
And then Ladue. Ladue is another district.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
They call the one they call, you heard, the Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
We'd go to the Hill to buy groceries. I mean, certain Italian, like oil and cheeses and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know the Hill pretty well.
Bobby, yeah.
I've been to the Hill several
Oh,
times.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some good food in that section.
Oh, yeah.
And how is life different for you today in Oklahoma? What's different about life here for you?
Well, we don't have as many places to go to as as in St. Louis. There was so many more places for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You have to belong to a club or something here. I don't know. It's different.
And how was that move? How was that move from St. Louis to Tulsa? How would you describe that for you?
Well, it was okay because I knew that I was then 81. Or no, I was 83 by that time. And I knew that there was nobody in St. Louis. My brothers and sisters, they all they lived way out, like in Chesterfield. But anyway, I sometimes miss St. Louis. But that's okay. That's the way I am, I just make the best of it.
You were probably there when they were building the arch.
Yes.
That's St. Louis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, no. We always have, the zoo at Grand Farm and.
You ever go to a Cardinals game?
Sure. I'd even go by myself sometime.
And who was your favorite?
What?
Did you ever have a favorite player on the Cardinals, or anybody you admire or remember?
Yeah, Babe Ruth. Although he wasn't a Cardinal.
You saw Babe Ruth play?
But I thought I used to watch him play. And there was of course, there was a couple of St. Louis boys that I just can't remember right now. I haven't watched the Cardinals for a while. I mean, not the last few years here.
It must have been something to see Babe Ruth, though.
Yeah.
I bet that was a hard ticket to get a hold of.
Yeah. He was from the Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another one that was from the Hill. I can't remember his name. I can see him, but I can't place his name.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is a lot of times now. I can see the person and I can't remember their name.
Sure.
That happens to the rest of us too.
Yeah, I know.
What is? Can you share a little bit more about your experience after your mother died? You know, what were some of your responsibilities as?
Well, after I after the home, they gave me a lot of responsibilities there and taught me a lot too, how to clean and how to darn. We darned socks and helped in the laundry room. You know, they have those dryers that you pull out. I don't know if you heard about those. And then you fill them up with wet clothes, and then you push it back again, and there's heat. That was just for the drying. We help with that. I help with a lot of things there, and I didn't mind it. I just liked doing whatever I was doing because everybody was so nice, and it was kind of fun, is to be with other children too.
And when you got home, I assume you had to help raise your brothers and sisters?
Yes.
Do you have any special memory of doing that, or?
Yeah, they got to the point that they thought they treated me like I was their mother.
They would do what you say?
Yes.
Would you have to discipline them, or would your father?
Oh, I didn't need to discipline them. They didn't mess with my father. He was strict, and
And how was your relationship with your stepmother?
mine was fine, but my sister's she never did get along with her. The boys didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
But I was okay with her. As a matter of fact, what I did is after they got married, and I said, well, now this job is yours. I'm going back to school.
Good for you.
That's it.
You kind of passed the torch.
What?
You passed off the torch.
Did I what?
You passed the torch on to your stepmother.
Yep. Well, she didn't just marry my father. The other kids came with a package.
That's right.
What do you feel? I guess I'll ask a couple more here. What do you feel is probably what's one of your accomplishments that you're most proud of in life?
think that I helped my children along to where they all turned out. All of them, all four of them, they turned out great.
Mhm.
They went to school, which was a big thing with me was education. Always thought that was so important.
Did you make sure they went to a parochial school?
Yes, yes, we sent the children to parochial school.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, they even went to college that was Catholic, except my one daughter. She came to Tulsa, and she attended Tulsa University. And the reason why she did is because Mary married a young man from Tulsa, whom she met at St. Louis University while she was going to school there. And he was going to school there.
That's funny. So they
So anyway, yes, my children have all had a Catholic education. And they really, I have to say, they turned out well. Then I never had any trouble with them being that they couldn't take care of themselves. They've all been able to take care of themselves.
They all.
And I never interfered with their in-laws. I had my lesson.
that seems to be a critical point in your life. Is
Yeah.
that the 10 years?
What was the most critical?
That 10 years you lived above your in-laws.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that a dissatisfying period of life for you, or was that period of life, that time period, was that kind of a dissatisfying for you?
Was it what?
Not a very happy time.
No,
Very
it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't dwell on it though.
Yeah.
You know, I just made the best of it. This is the way it is. I'm here, and I can't go anywhere until we can afford it.
Well, how did you meet your husband?
I met him when I was working for my father in the office, in his real estate office. Oh, and that's something else. Then my father went into building business, and my brothers went in. That's what they did most of their life. They built a lot in St. Louis.
Houses or housing?
What?
Housing? They built homes?
Oh, no, big homes. Big homes in like Chesterfield around there, you know, that area. Oh no, they were big builders out there. So, as far as living, I mean, I can't say that I was ever poor, you know.
Yeah. Well, and going back to your husband, you met him at your father's work.
At the office.
At the office. What was your courtship like? Do you have any?
Well, yeah.
Your first date.
Don't even go into that. There again, my mother-in-law had something to do with that. We had to have, when we went out, we had to have company with us. What do they call them?
A
Chaperone.
Chaperone. And so my sister and his sister used to come with us. We'd ditch them sometimes. Put them in the theater. Oh my God, we found ways of getting to really know each other.
And where were you? What was a typical date like back then? What did you do? You went to the theater?
Yeah, we'd go to the theater, and then, like they have, like that place in St. Louis that they have what the heck? Highlands, I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah.
It's like where they're Ferris wheel and all that stuff. They call it the Highlands.
Mm-hmm.
We'd go to those things.
But you had to have a chaperone.
Yeah.
How did he propose?
What?
How did he propose?
Oh, he proposed in the office. And you know what? I was surprised. I knew he came in all the time, but I didn't have any idea what he had in his mind. I said, "Oh, I can't give you an answer now. I don't know how I feel about this." So I think he was a little TO'd about that.
Did you make him wait?
Yeah. But he came back finally after about 3 or 4 months. And what he was doing in the meantime, he opened up the grocery and liquor business in his father's. My father-in-law had a meat market, and then my husband he wanted to be an architect, but in those days, when I told you when I got married about 36. It was during the war. There wasn't much building going on. And now I left myself.
He was opening a wine.
What?
He was going to open a business with your father-in-law. Your husband, that's who you
Well,
were.
that was his father.
And
So that's what he was doing in the meantime, but I didn't know. He didn't tell me what he was doing. He just didn't call or anything. He was a nice guy, but boy, he was a typical Italian. I mean, he had a temper. Of course, my father had a temper too. I was used to that.
So he asked you a second time?
No, what's your answer?
Oh, what's your answer?
What do you want to do? What are you going to do? Did you make up your mind?
What did your father think of him?
Oh, my father knew him
Mm-hmm.
and his family. As a matter of fact, that was we lived in this flat, and the Tranchillas were looking for a place because they were living in where all the Italians were, what do they call it, ghetto. and they were looking for, away from there. And they came to see the house that we were living in, and they bought it. And then just think that how many years later, I go and move in upstairs. We lived downstairs then.
So you actually you moved out of your house,
Yeah.
and then you came back after being married, and
Yeah.
you lived in it
When I
again.
married him.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah, that's where I lived for 10 years. But, I just took everything, and I never made a big deal about things that happened to me. I just would think that, they're going to happen and just make the best of it. So if you can ride it. Because I didn't believe in spending time thinking about things like that, because it's just a waste of time. And I always feel it too when there's an argument. I just, what I tell them, what is it that I tell them? Oh my God. Oh my goodness, isn't that crazy? Oh, you argue with a fool and you're a bigger fool.
I'll have to remember that.
Now, this is kind of a different question for you, but did you ever have any aspirations, or did you ever dream to become something? And in other words, how did you imagine life would turn out as you got older? Did you accomplish what you set out to do? Do you think?
I think what I did is I just made the best of it day by day. Whatever happened, whatever happened in my life, I just, I don't know. You just felt so be it.
Do you have a bucket list?
A what?
A bucket list? Do you have a list of things you want to do?
Oh,
A bucket
no,
list?
I never. You need to really write a list.
Some people do.
What I want to know is, when history is written, what do you want it to say about you? What do you want to be remembered for, in other words?
Do I want to read? Oh, shoot. Never thought of that.
How do you want family and friends to remember you?
I think that they would remember me as a decent person. Because I can tell that, I can tell that they think a lot of me. But I don't know what I would want to be remembered for.
In terms of, what do you mean by decent?
What?
What do you mean by the word decent?
Decent?
You said you want to be remembered as a decent person. What does that mean?
Well, you know that I wouldn't lie to them and they could trust me.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all I can think of.
Well, we thank you very much for sharing your story with us today.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure.